Well, good Thursday to you, University City Church, and welcome to our weekly conversation that we began last week as we respond together, Pastor Lisa and I, to the pain that we are seeing and feeling ourselves in America today in response to this recent killing of George Floyd and the ones before that, Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery and back. We're here today to continue to think about how we can respond to this. So, Pastor, last week, I just asked you how you were feeling. What I heard was you were feeling discouraged, despondent, down in your spirit, and just hard to get up and go again. How are you feeling now?
Thanks for asking. Good to be with you here today, Pastor John. Today is a very light day for me, much better. I feel supported. I feel like there are a lot of people in the city, in the world, that are coming together and are willing to listen and work while we listen. So that's very helpful.
So if you shift from some of that gut-wrenching feeling that you had to what you're beginning to think about and hope for, what are you thinking now?
Well, I'm thinking that while we have started work here at this church with the People's Supper and with the Beloved Community and some other things that you and I are partnering in, I'm thinking that there's hope for us. There's hope for our community. There's hope for our church really coming to one accord. So I'm feeling hopeful today. I'm interested in knowing how you are, though.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little older than you, and I've been at this work even when I was here before in Charlotte. And, you know, when I see what's going on in the world, it's way beyond something that happened in Minnesota, in Minneapolis to George Floyd. I mean, that set off the fire that's... And I'm thinking back when Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Yes.
Well, we're seeing not just in America cities, but all over the world, a response that there's something wrong here that needs to be righted. And so I'm seeing that maybe even some of the growing divide that we were seeing in our country in recent months, some of that may have been overshadowed by this. And you see some people, black and white, Republicans and Democrats, everybody coming together saying, no, that is wrong. And now, of course, as we move into it, there's still some division about, okay, how do you do reforming of policing and how do you respond and, you know, different ideas. But there's almost a new unity that's coming around that we've got to stand up and be counted for what is right.
Absolutely.
That comment that King made another time, I wrote this down. The time is always right to do what is right.
Yes.
And so as we're thinking locally here in our church and here in Charlotte, I'm kind of curious what you feel like is most right. I mean, there are a lot of right things we could try to do, but what right things do we need to be doing now?
I think one of the right things that we can do is, one, listen, and not just listen, but work. Let work be a result of our listening. It's going to be important not to victimize. I think one of the other right things to do is, as we sit together and listen and work together, that we seriously come up with a plan that we can implement to see the change that's needed. And then one other thing, I want to mention that while we have our differences or said differences with police, that policing is not the only issue. And so that's important to note. It's not to blame the police. There's some great policemen. I've met some. And but it's to shine the light on where injustices are being done. And the right thing is, yes, look at the police, but also look at the economics, Look at all the other things, the education, all the injustices, and let's go to work on all of that. Yeah, let's get our groups. You were good at grouping, this church is. So let's get started on some of those things too. It's a whole. Those are just parts of the whole. Yeah.
So jobs and education,
yes.
housing, all of those issues are related to this.
Absolutely.
And I agree. If you just were able somehow to eliminate those incidences of bad policing,
right,
we still got a problem.
Sure.
So you use the word listening. I want to say that this was kind of smart when I saw the NFL saying, okay, maybe we weren't really listening deeply enough.
Absolutely.
I want to say on behalf of my white world that I live in, that I've been thinking, and I talk all the time for a living. I need to stop talking. I need to do some deeper listening. And I think the problem is that sometimes when we get into an awkward and a tense situation, especially white men, we want to rise up and we want to say something, we want to fix it, we want to solve it, we want to be sure we can make it better, right? And maybe the most important thing right now is just to be quiet. But when I say that, I don't mean be silent. I was, again, I've just been reading and thinking about King a lot. He said one time, in the end, we'll remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends.
Absolutely.
So when I have friends who are African American, they're looking at me now. Are you going to say anything? Are you going to do anything? Are you going to rise up? Or are you going to just be sitting there kind of on the fence and kind of neutral? And
let me add to that, John. I would say that we are all empowered. But when you look at this world system, the power lies in the white male, and or who hold the positions of money, right? And so when you look at those things, you can understand why you still have, say, an NFL African American playing and making millions. But still, he's scared to speak out because he fears whether or not he'll get a contract if he speaks up about what is right and what is wrong. So that power is real when you look at the white male being empowered. So I say to that, while we're coming together to figure out what it is that needs to be done, we need that stepping up. We need that stepping up of the white male. We need that stepping up of the white race to help. We're not nobody's looking for a handout, but we do expect that there will be a hand up so that we can come to the equality that everybody else has. And so I don't know if you get that, but I'll keep working on it.
I also heard you when you were asking me the other day about that quote Martin Luther King made about Dante. And I did not know that one, so I went back and looked it up. Dante, I know the Italian poet from the Middle Ages, who, Divine Comedy, and he has these graphic images of heaven and hell and purgatory.
Yes.
So I just Googled, that, and I went and I said, oh my goodness. Martin Luther King said, I agree with Dante that the hottest places in hell are reserved for those who, in a period of moral crisis, maintain their neutrality. So the white male who in this world and in this country, yes, has privilege and power and opportunity that others don't have, if he decides to stay kind of out of it, stay on the sidelines, stay neutral, don't get into this, Yeah. But this is not going to be comfortable, see?
There you go. And so what is comfortable? And not being edgy, but what is comfortable? One, it's comfortable for us to accept that there is racism and not talk about it.
Yeah.
Because when we start to talk about that, people get uneasy. That's not something, just leave it alone. But it's not going to go away like that. We have to first admit that it's happening.
Yep.
Then what?
Then we have to submit to the Lord to speak the truth to us through the Holy Spirit.
And then all of us have to what?
Commit
Commit to change.
Admit,
yes.
Submit, comment.
Amen.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, that's good. Well, okay, today's conversation is just one in a series, and we want to get maybe some of our folks from racial healing, social justice into this conversation, maybe some others in the church that are doing things. But quickly summarize, what is it you feel like we need to do to keep this movement, not this flash moment again, but this movement that we've already been a part of? How do we make it go forward? What's most important in your mind?
For me, I think we need to use some of the tools that we already have.
Okay.
And I'm going to keep talking about the People's Supper
Yes.
because we've been doing this a year now, and more people are coming, and we're talking about these issues, and not just this issue, but other issues that impact our families, our communities, our world. So we want to invite more people, more of the congregation to come and join us. We have a link on the calendar, and there'll be something strolling across the website today. So we'll have it tonight at 6:30. Please come and bring a neighbor with you if you want to do that. That's one thing that
Of
we're
course,
doing.
remember that we're recording this on Tuesday, so we will have had the People's
yeah.
Supper before people are reading this.
I forgot.
So, but the point is, we're going to continue these.
Yes.
We may even step up the frequency. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the other thing we can do is Make Ministries is offering a 5-week series on the lies between us, the lies between us. And it happens every Tuesday from June 16th, starts June 16th, every Tuesday at 8 o'clock a.m. And so it's the first Presbyterian church uptown.
Okay.
Please come.
Yeah.
Yeah, be a part of that.
Another thing on Tuesdays that I've just learned about, I'm going to be in a online Zoom on how to be an anti-racist by Ibram X. Kendi.
Wow.
And I haven't read him. I've heard him speak, and so there are people, black and white, who are coming together to do studies. I mean, there are plenty of books.
Yes.
Probably more webinars and seminars than we could even shake a stick at. But,
Sure.
But we really want this church to find ways that you personally, how do you want to step up and step into this conversation now? And what is it you want your church to be doing as we think about how we're going to respond to the pain in this crisis in America? But do it right here at home, right in our church, right in our community, joining with other churches and agencies. We hope you'll think about that, pray about that. If you have something you want to share with us, email us.
Yes,
you can get
please.
back, give us a phone call, and we'll continue for the next few weeks recording and then posting this on Thursdays of each week, this conversation about how we can help heal the racial divides in this land.